another episode of
The Marriage Conversation.
Yeah, gang.
The McDuffies. Yeah. With the McDuffies. Why did I just mouth the McDuffies?
Oh my gosh. We'll leave that in there. So, if you made it this far, I'm assuming that you have listened to the first couple of episodes of why we started, our origin story, who I am, who this lady is.
And if not, that's okay. You can start here.
Stop right here. No, just stop.
I mean, you can start here and go back.
Oh, that's true too. All right, cool. So you can start here and then go back and listen to the previous 2 episodes.
Right.
But just in case this is your first time, my name's EJ McDuffie.
I'm Nakia McDuffie.
Yeah, I'm the husband.
I'm the wife. We've been married for 2 years.
Yep. And we started this podcast because we truly believe that marriage is sexy, and we want to showcase that and try to help other black millennial couples or aspiring couples or seriously dating couples kind of navigate this whole marriage and the possibilities of marriage.
Yeah, not to say that we're experts, but a lot of times when you share your experiences, it helps other people. So we're sharing our testimony, hoping that it inspires and helps someone else, because by no means are we professionals and by no means are we perfect.
Yeah.
We're just learning and growing through this experience together, and then we're sharing it with you all.
For sure, for sure. So right now, just drop down in the comment section if you are married or you're dating or whatever. Just let us know. Like, we want to know who our audience is. We want to know how long y'all been dating, how long y'all been engaged, how long y'all been married, and that'll kind of help us figure out who our audience is. So yeah, do that for us. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
We're gonna get into today's topic, which is communication. Communication is key. It's important in any relationship.
Yeah.
So that's why we wanted it to be one of the first topics that we get into.
Pew, 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 pew. Yeah, it's funny though. Before we jump into this topic, this literally just happened. So if y'all look behind us, there are 2 elephants. I don't know where they are. You gotta look back there. You can see them.
There's the white elephant.
But yeah, and then there is this gold elephant right there. Mm-hmm. So we were trying to set up our studio because hey, I've got to speak it into existence. We were setting up our studio, right? And the camera angle was a little bit off. And so my wife says, turn it towards the elephant. And I said, what elephant? There's 2. Which one are you talking about? I only see one. And I said, just because there's only one elephant that you see doesn't mean that I don't see the 2 elephants. Literally, like y'all just saw, there were 2 elephants there. So I thought, even though that wasn't playing with the elephant, I thought that was a perfect segue into, listening and giving clear directions
and effective communication.
Yeah. So again, that was just
wasn't communicating effectively
at all. Turn it towards the elephant. What elephant?
And I acknowledge
the gold one, the white one.
But I didn't see the white one.
The one that you don't see.
I didn't it was blending in. I was looking straight at the gold.
The gold. Okay. Whatever. So yeah, we're gonna jump into it, and Nakia got some notes. So
Gonna let me get started?
Yeah, as she facilitates this conversation, I'm sure I'll have some things to add. So let's dive right in to this effective communication.
Okay, not that effective. Jeez, all that tongue and spit and lipping.
Effective.
Jesus. Hot buttered bourbon. Yeah, that's not your shirt.
Oh, okay. All right.
So I do believe that EJ and I's and mine's, I don't know. I teach English, but I don't know the proper structure of a sentence. That our relationship began with effective communication because we started off as, just friends.
Yeah, yeah.
And we knew that we were interested in each other, but both of us were just off of engagements, so we didn't want to jump into another relationship.
Can I stop you for a second? So for the people who this may be their first time.
No, they can go back and watch it. Do that.
No, but you need to tell them what part of this conversation you talking about. Like, is this when we met again? When we met when we were kids?
Can I get there? You didn't let me finish.
Well, you said start it, so that's why I was trying to help you out. But go ahead and turn your sound off.
I don't even know where I was now. I feel like I need to start over.
You said when we started with effective
I said
communication.
when we started our relationship.
Yeah.
Yes.
But what relationship we talking about?
I said friendship.
But what friendship?
We don't need a timeline. Just let me talk.
Okay,
if they want to
alright.
know everything about our relationship, they can go back and watch our origin story.
Okay. Go ahead.
You don't want to be repetitive. You're like, I heard this story already.
Yeah, but it ain't a story. It's just
If you want context, go back and watch the origin story.
what Bishop say.
I don't talk like you do.
Okay, go ahead. I'll fill in the gaps. Go
I
ahead.
don't talk like you do. You're trying to get me to be. I'm more to the point.
The gold elephant or the white elephant?
I'm more to. I didn't see it. That's
All right,
not
go
a fair
ahead.
comparison.
Go ahead. I don't want anybody to, beat me up in the comment section. So go ahead.
Wow. Okay. Anywho, so when we started off our relationship, I feel like we had effective communication because we had something that we called the honesty policy.
Mm-hmm.
So we knew that we had feelings for each other and liked each other, but we weren't ready to have an official relationship just yet, and we were both okay with that. And I feel like we were able to express and communicate that with one another. So
Which time you talking about though?
with the Viola Davis, all right, I'm gonna head out. I'm gonna head out.
So I'm just messing with Kia.
So this is the time when we met again in 2013. That's what EJ wants me to
Thank
say.
you.
When we
Thank you.
reconnected in 2013. All right, we got some communication practices going on here live in the studio.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, this is talking about when EJ and I reconnected in 2013. We had something called the honesty policy. So if we ever had something to say to somebody, we would just invoke the honesty policy. You know, if we asked the other person a question, be like, hey, honesty policy. Da 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 da. And I feel like that established good ground for our relationship because during that time I felt like we were able to become friends and get to know each other and really understand each other and who that person was in a relationship. So although we weren't in a romantic relationship, we were still in a relationship. So we still were able to get to know each other, understand each other, get to know what the other person liked and didn't like, not as on a deeper level as it was when we became romantically involved.
Yeah.
But I think that honesty policy laid a good foundation for us to have effective communication. And for me, it allowed me to be open with EJ and say like how I felt and things like that and express myself, in my opinion.
I'm just thinking about some of the times we invoked it. But yeah, I agree with Nakia here.
I don't remember any specific times when we invoked it, so.
Yeah, I don't know whose idea it was. And we were also... Why are you taking my water bottle?
It's in the camera.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was. The top of it was just in the camera.
Oh, okay. My bad. I don't know whose idea it was to start the honesty policy, but probably hers. But we were also like long distance friends too. So Nakia was in Virginia and I was in North Carolina. And I was trying to have a hot boy summer before hot boy summers was a thing. And so, it was really just keeping that line of communication open. My best friend Dave had just moved back to Greensboro.
I told y'all he would come up. Every time you hear the name Dave or David, take a shot. Or a sip of your drink.
Yeah, so my best friend David had just moved back. I was in graduate school. And so, yeah, But the honesty policy, I think it worked. It really did set a firm foundation for us. And like Nakia said at the beginning of the podcast, I'm not telling you to do that in your relationship because you may be too far gone to kind of implement this strategy. But if you
I
at
don't
the
think
beginning,
it's ever too late to implement it though.
yeah, I mean we don't use the honesty policy now, but I think with the timing that we did use it, it allows for me now to just say, babe, I need some help with these bills, or baby, I need some help with Harper, or
No, I
whatever.
understand that for us, but I'm saying to people listening, I don't think it's ever too late to use a tool.
I don't think it's too late, but I think that there could be some, what's the best word? There could be some like hesitation on implementing that policy now, because I've walked on eggshells with you for the past 6 months to a year. Now we're saying we're gonna implement this tool.
Yeah, I'm not hating, I'm just saying it's not too late. That's all.
Okay, I just want to make sure you understand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I told y'all he's very detailed.
Hey, I gotta give examples. Yeah.
Yes.
I gotta give examples. I gotta narrate my points.
So just say hermeneutics, homiletics, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Break it all down.
Yeah, I'm trying to break it all down for everybody. So
Exegete, that's what you go.
Yeah. So the honesty policy, I think it did set a firm foundation for us. So for now, when I want to say something to Nakia, sometimes we don't say that at all now.
Like we like honesty policy.
Yeah, we used to be like, honesty policy, this is what we need to do, X, Y, Z. Now I just say, hey Nakia, like, bro, this ain't working. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need to do this. We need to have some more sex. We need to, all of those types of things that could be tough conversations to have. Now we can just have them because we have that foundation. And she knows that I got her best interest at heart, and I know the same for her. So yeah, we don't have to do that.
Yeah, I think that helped establish trust, which is an important part of communication.
For sure.
For sure. I was gonna say that. I was gonna say for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
We hang around each other too much.
Yeah. What else? What else, Cook?
So I think something that helped us in our relationship. So we were dating for 5 years, and I think, like EJ said, the honesty policy was a good foundation. But once we got engaged, for me, what strengthened it was going to premarital counseling. And there was a session where we talked about communication and then talking about fighting fair. Because I'm the type of person, when I get in an argument with somebody that I care about, I get very passionate, I get very emotional, and I don't know what to say, so I'm gonna walk away. Like, I can't deal with it right then. I don't want to talk about it. Like, that's it. Let me relax. Let me cool off. And EJ's the type of person where he wants to finish the conversation right then, right now. Let's resolve it, and then we'll be good. And I'm like, no,
that always works. Now, I know what I said last time about the honesty policy, but this particular tool always works. We could get to the bottom of this thing.
And it don't work for everybody. It don't work for me.
It always works. Y'all hear me? Look, this camera on me. It always works. So,
yeah.
Nah, I think that part I did have to learn though. But like Nakia said, when she does get upset, she does get passionate. And I think I
can raise my voice.
Yes, I think she be acting out. And I know that this sound like I'm her dad, but I'm not. I think that when people get into arguments and they feel like they're backed into a corner, or they are in a position of just being like past the tip-top level of positivity, that they do things to act out just to get the conversation over with, or just to get out of having to talk about it at all. And I think that Nakia does that. And not that I'm trying to beat up on my wife. That's just something that I've noticed, over our time together. Just like she noticed for me, she noticed for me that I want to talk about it right now. And if we don't talk about it, I've learned to be okay with that. But also, I've also I can become petty sometimes in these arguments,
just
disagreements.
Don't say sometimes. I can become petty.
Okay,
period.
I can become petty, period. In these arguments and these disagreements. Like, depending on how upset I am, I'll go a day or two without talking to Nakia. And I know, again, don't judge me. We just trying to help somebody with this podcast. And so I'll go a day without saying that to her, or unless it pertains to the kids or whatever. But stuff about her and her day and all of that, I won't ask, because I know that I'm upset. Now I haven't done that in a while, and it doesn't happen that often. But again, like I was saying, that Nikea's thing is acting out. That's my way of acting out. You know, I could be in control.
Silent treatment.
Right, of when I talk to my wife, and I could be, I guess, petty, as Nikea said. Just
you said it, I mean.
But you said period, petty, period.
Oh, you just said sometimes.
Yeah, and so again, when you're fighting, like, one, you got to take the gloves off sometimes and go to your respective corners and be able to woosah and still love and care for your partner, your teammate, whoever that person is. I'm reminding of that picture where it's like two old people and they sitting on a bench, and even though bruh is mad, it's an old man, he mad at his wife and it's raining, but he still got the umbrella over her head, even though he mad. Like, oh man, something just dropped in my spirit even just now. So what's even more cool about that image, as I just mentioned it, as the husband or as the man, it's still our responsibility to cover our wives even when we're mad. And so that's what just dropped in my spirit when I said that. Like, the visual just came to me. And so, you know, I'm churchy, y'all. I can't help but be churchy.
Oh my goodness. But I had start, EJ took this off on a tangent where I wasn't trying to go.
My bad, go ahead.
But what I was trying to say is, when we were in premarital counseling, we talked about establishing rules for when we have arguments. So I think that's important in communication. So in a relationship, to say this is how we are going to fight so that we fight fair. And they gave us some rules too, like, you know, don't try to put the other person down or hit below the belt.
Yeah.
So I know, like, EJ is not, it's like, I'm not gonna cuss at him. Like, don't cuss at him.
Cuss at me, it's over. And not in a bad way. I'm not gonna
like, there's no
you.
cussing in general.
Well, in an argument.
Yes. And then you know, not raising my voice. He doesn't like doors to be slammed. Don't walk away when we're talking. That's one thing. And then for me, in communication, the level of your voice, that doesn't bother me. It's the tone in which you say things. Because my mom always used to say, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Because EJ will say something, I'll be like, why you gonna say it like that? Like, I'm not mad at what you said, I'm mad at how you said it.
What you mean?
So
I didn't say any certain
that's some rules for me. And you know, don't call me out my name. But I feel like that's all, like, fighting fair. And you don't want to put the other person down, because EJ used to say this a lot when we were living in the house with 47 people. But we're teammates. So when you're arguing with your teammates. So you don't want to build them down. You want to come to a resolution or solution as quick as possible. So, and one rule we have is that even if we're mad at each other, we're going to sleep in the same bed.
Every time.
So there's no, like, I'm kicking EJ out the room and he got to sleep on the couch like y'all see on the sitcoms and TV shows.
Yeah.
There's no me leaving the room and sleeping somewhere else because I don't want to be bothered. Like, I'm just going to be in the bed mad. Thank God we have a king size now, so, you know, we're further apart. That's cool.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not judging anybody who does. Like, if that work for y'all, like,
I don't understand it.
Somebody
I think
sleep
it's
on
dumb.
the couch, somebody sleep wherever. That's just not my ministry.
Honestly, policy, I think it's dumb.
Yeah, like you that mad at your spouse that y'all sleeping, y'all not talking.
You don't want to be close to
Yeah, you don't want to be close to them. We both paying.
Married couples sleep.
We both paying bills and stuff in this house, you know. And I don't know who the breadwinner is. You know, it's 2022, so both of y'all could be the breadwinner, whatever. I don't care about that part. But you gonna tell me a place where I pay bills, I can't even sleep in the bed and get a good night's sleep? I gotta sleep on the couch like a teenager? Nah, my boy, that don't sit right with me. So, you know, that's probably the biggest one out of all of them, in terms of the rules. And then people always say this, and it's so cliche, but I just try not to go to bed mad. But I understand that there's situations and there's times that, you know, in a perfect world, yes, I wouldn't go to bed mad. But in this situation, I'm not talking to Nakia because I'm being petty. So
Right, and I think sometimes you just have to learn that it may not be resolved in one discussion or one conversation. And having an argument, whenever I talk about having an argument like with a friend or somebody I'm in a relationship with, I think about a boxing match. So sometimes you gotta go to your corner and you gotta cool off. And so you can have time to think about, okay, what was I really upset about? What really caused this argument? What is the root of this thing, so that I can come back and talk and have effective communication and we can reach a solution or a resolution or agree to disagree on that topic.
I've never done this, but I've heard Eric Thomas say back in the day when him and his wife used to marry. Well, I didn't say back in the day. It's probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I said when they were married.
No, you said used to marry.
I'm sorry, when they used to argue. My bad. When they used to argue, they would go to their rooms or their room, get into bed, and then have the conversation. The reason why he said they did that is because when you get into bed and have the conversation, like you're not as animated and all those types of things. Like if me and Nakia start arguing right now, like we start getting with our hands and one person walking away, they got their hands on their hips. You know, you're doing all of those types of things. But when you in the bed and you got the blanket or the comforter pulled over you, like it's hard to have that same type of what is it called? Mannerisms, like all of those things that kind of come out when you argue in, like, just in the kitchen or in the living room or wherever you are. So, you know, I think that's a really good one.
Yeah. Oh, another thing from marriage counseling or premarital counseling that I picked up was listening to understand rather than listening to respond. And this is just effective, period.
Yeah, everywhere. Not just in marriage, right?
But especially when someone is, if you are in a discussion, argument. I know, let's see, Pastor Juanita Bonner used to call it heated fellowship when you have a disagreement with your spouse. So, you know, you're still fellowshipping, but it's just a little heated. I think it's important to realize that you need to listen to what they're saying and process it and really try to understand what they're saying, and then try to respond to what they said once you have truly understood it. Because a lot of times we listen and we already like, ooh, I already got my response, raise my hand, I want to talk, it's my turn. And you really don't understand what that person has actually said. And I think another thing to go on hand in hand with that is to repeat back what the person said to you. And I even learned this when I was working at one of the schools I worked at, when we had like professional learning communities, when our grade levels would meet together. Like somebody would say something and they would be like, what I heard you say was, and you would repeat back to them what they said and in your understanding to ensure that's the point that they were trying to get across. So that lets the person know that, one, you were hearing me, and two, it validates their feelings, and three, you have an understanding of what they said, and now you can actually respond to it rather than just hearing them and then having your response. And that's when you have the back and forth, and you can't reach a resolution.
Yeah, and the one thing I would add to that, I know that it may come across as super annoying to always say, well, Nakia, what I just heard you say was when you were working at that school, you would repeat what you thought you heard someone say just for clarification. Like, that could be super annoying to do that, but I think in the long run, it'll always pay out. I am that person at work in a meeting that is going to repeat back what I heard from my manager or supervisor or even a teammate, just because I want to make sure that I understood the assignment and I understood what was being asked of me. Right. That way there's no gray area, there's nothing left up to interpretation. Like, it's clear for everybody. And if the person who was given the message didn't come across clear, this gives them opportunity for them to clear it up. And now they're saying, okay, well, does that make sense for you? Did you understand what I said? And so, yeah, I love that particular tool as not just marriage, but in general as communication in every aspect of life. You want to make sure. And I know now that we're like texting and we're Snapchatting and we on Instagram, and so there's a lot of communication happening, and it may not always happen like face to face and one on one and things like that. But I think in those conversations, that's definitely a tool that you want to use.
And I think, and communication doesn't always have to be like in a negative aspect, not always in arguments or heated fellowships and disagreement. Sometimes you just need to sit down and have a conversation, or even have tough conversations and be able to like express your feelings and emotions, and to say, oh, when I first had Harper, I was doing everything. I was breastfeeding her, I was changing her, I was getting her ready in the morning, and then EJ would just have to drop her off at daycare, and I just came to a realization like, I'm doing too much. So I
like chilling.
And I had to tell EJ, like, he doesn't know that I'm doing too much and I'm stressed out and I'm tired unless I say something. So I had to have a conversation with him and say, hey, I need some days where you pick up Harper and I can come home and just be by myself and relax, or take a nap after work, and I need you to help do this, etc., etc. So that wasn't like an argument. I didn't go up to him and say, EJ, you're not doing enough, I need you to do more. That's
what it felt like.
Ineffective communication.
She really hurt me.
And and then even recently when we went to Chicago and we had brunch one day, we had conversations about the financials and bills in our house. And that was just effective communication. And sometimes we just ask each other questions. I think the question I asked EJ was like, what do you see for our marriage in the next year? Like, what's going to happen? What's going on? What's your goals? What's your plans? And sometimes, I think I even told one of my friends this, sometimes it's hard to have those conversations. So if you do drink, I mean, we have mimosas, so it was a little...
Yeah, you get a little bit more loose.
Yeah.
Again, we ain't telling you to get drunk and have the conversations, but...
If you need a little mimosas to encourage those feelings, okay. But I feel like finally in our relationship, I've gotten to a place where I can express how I feel. Like if I don't like something or if I want something to happen, I'm at a place now where I express it rather than assuming that he's gonna know, because he's not a mind reader
at all.
So I'm not a mind reader.
I can barely read at all. So.
And he don't like to read. So I think I've finally gotten to that place. And I will say for EJ and I, our communication has gotten better since we moved out of the house with my parents and other people, because having other people in your communication, that gets messy too. Very messy.
Yeah.
And I've been talking, so pass the mic.
No.
You got something to add to that?
No.
Yeah. But I was gonna say something else. Moving out, having effective communication. Yeah, it'll come back to me, I guess.
No, you're doing a great job.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. So yeah, I think you got anything else?
Oh, I was gonna say one. That's what I was gonna say. Thank you, Holy Ghost. Another rule that we have with communication is we do our best to not argue in front of the children.
Oh,
so that includes Harper and Reagan, when she is here. So we do our best not to argue in front of them. And even if there's been times when EJ and I are talking and we get a little like animated and a little emotional, and Harper's like, everybody calm down.
Stop fighting.
Yes.
Nobody's fighting her.
Yeah, but she's just not used to seeing that from us because we don't do that in front of her. So that is a major thing, because we don't want that to affect her upbringing. Not to say we want to present always perfect in front of her. What?
I'm perfect.
He thinks so.
Yeah.
We don't want to present always perfect in front of her because, that's not a relationship. Like, she sees our flaws and stuff, but not, we don't
want to cause her any undue trauma.
Right. We want to have her have as little childhood trauma as possible.
Yeah. So.
Even though when we fight, it's not like, we ain't trying to
and again,
throw blows and stuff.
Exactly. We ain't calling each other out of our names. We not screaming to the top of our lungs.
And busting and cussing.
All of that stuff, We could have a civilized discussion and get in control of our emotions and, do it that way.
And as y'all can see at the beginning of this podcast, we're still working on our communication. So a lot of times, like even when we talk, I have to ask EJ to clarify or ask him to explain it differently, because the way that he explains stuff is not the way that I understand it. And I have to try to repeat it back to him. Like, y'all saw that. And even when we were setting up the camera, like he was saying something and I was like, okay, you just do it, because I done all the things that I can and I'm not kidding.
She happened to be a little slow, and so sometimes I gotta say things 3 or 4 times for her to get it. So.
No, it's just a different way. I understand things differently. So you have to explain them to me differently. When you're telling me to do something, I need the details. Like, I need the details.
I give you the details.
Yes. And EJ, I needed to be specific because, you know,
Oh yeah, I can get
two
a little,
elephants. That's the title of this episode. Two elephants.
yeah, I can get a little down in the weeds, you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's just different ways to explain things, and because people understand them differently. And I know sometimes when I say stuff to EJ, I have to explain
what
it
you
to him.
talking about?
And if I want him to do something, I have to say, "Hey, babe, can you do this thing at this time? If I want it done right then."
I think
I gotta give it
that's just a
time.
married thing. Husbands, we don't know. You say, hey, when you get a chance, can you take out the trash?
Yes.
When I get a chance. I
Yeah.
might not get a chance until Friday.
And if I want to do
Until
it right
that
now,
Monday.
I'm gonna say, "Hey, EJ, can you take the trash out right now, please?"
Yeah. And you know,
I've learned that therapy helped me with
And
that.
I just gotta know
Thank you, Dr.
that
Carter.
she not trying to be funny when she say right now. Now I'm still gonna say, yeah, give me a sec. But I
Never
know
do it myself.
yeah, but I know that, you know, she wants immediate action taken and not when I get a chance. 'Cause when I get a chance, it's different from when she get a chance.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
So I think some key takeaways from this is communication is key, necessary, and important in any relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Establish your rules of engagement
Yeah.
whenever you're having any heated fellowship or any conversation.
Right.
Establish your rules of engagement, and then also listen to understand rather than respond.
Yeah. So what I would like for y'all to do in the comment section, you know, just tell us one thing that you plan to implement in your relationship,
Right.
in your friendships, with your parents,
Right, your kids.
any of that, any of what we said today. And like Nakia has reiterated 3 or 4 times, like we're not perfect, we're not experts, but we just giving y'all what works for us. And so, you know what they say, you know, take what you can, and then whatever you can't, just discard.
Right, glean what you can.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, drop down in the comment section. Let us know what you're gonna take and what you're
Don't
gonna
try
use.
to do everything at once. You
Yeah.
don't want to overwhelm yourself.
Yeah, one
Just
step
one
at a time.
And once you master that,
You move
you
to the
add
next
another
level.
thing to your toolkit.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So that's it for this episode. You know, stop making that face.
I'm smiling. I'm
Oh.
happy.
That's it for this episode.
And I look cute.
Oh my god, this is it for this episode.
Say it again one more time for the people in the
Yeah,
back.
cause you keep cutting me off. I gotta
This
go.
is it for this episode, y'all. Happy communicating.
This is
Happy
it.
communicating. You don't have to say it again.
This is it for this episode. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe, follow, all of that good jazz. So we'll catch y'all next time.
On the next episode of the Marriage Conversation.
Peace.
Bye.